Pulse Radio is invading your airwaves. Be on the lookout.
Geeks and Gamers.
Hello, Geeks and Gamers. Welcome to the Sports Wars podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy, and I'm joined here today by our Sports Wars admins and members. From Sports Wars, the lead admin. He's back. He's the mayor of Oakland, Pat Brumfield. What's going on, Pat?
What's happening? What's up with y'all boys? Glad to be back in the mix. I got my jersey on. Got some of my little collectibles you may have heard of at some point here, and I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go.
Glad to have you back, sir. After that roasting you put on me a few weeks ago, you've been requested.
It was friendly advice framed as a roast,
which is the way we like it. Like it. And from another one of our Sports Wars admins, and you see him every week, Roy Morgan. What's going on, Roy?
Back again, ready to talk about some sports and talk about this upcoming small little football game we got coming up in a week or a couple days.
Yes, sir. Yes,
something they got going on up there. Yeah.
And our resident statistician himself, the analytic master, Mr. David LaRock. What's up, David?
Good day.
Good day. That's all? That's it?
That's it.
All right, man.
He's saving his talking for the Super Bowl segment.
Well, we definitely have some news to get into. Roy was just telling me he went to bed early last night because he was like, there's not a whole lot going on. And he went to bed early, woke up to 1,000 notifications, and suddenly Alex Smith was suddenly traded from the Kansas City Chiefs over to the Washington Redskins. And I was like, whoa. Then he signs this massive contract, and it took us all off guard a little bit. So I really want to hear David's thoughts on this because David loves Alex Smith, and he has a really a legendary article that he wrote on geeksandgamers.com about what was the title of that one, David?
Pretty much Joe Montana's Alex Smith 2.0.
Yeah, and he even tagged Joe Cool on Twitter. He's just David doing David things. So what are your thoughts on this, David?
Disrespectful.
What are your thoughts on this?
It's really, really shocking that they did it so soon because nothing can be actually official until, mid-March? The fact that they hashed everything out now, I guess it gets the ball rolling and teams can start signing Kirk, to a bigger deal. I think I think Kansas City raped. Can I say that on the podcast? Raped. They shredded Washington. I mean, to get a third rounder for a mid-30-year-old quarterback who we know what the ceiling is, plus the number 2 rated slot corner in all of football. And that was the one position that Kansas City needed help with. And they have Mahomes, who's ready. I'm a huge fan. Bigger arm strength. They can do more things vertically. And Washington gets Alex Smith. I mean, but the fact that they gave him $71 million guaranteed, and he's now the 6th highest paid quarterback.
That's crazy. It's absolutely.
Okay, Washington fucked up, okay?
Exactly.
We know Washington fucked up. But what nobody's talking about is, yes, they're paying Alex Smith a shit ton of money, but they would have been paying Kirk Cousins more.
But then they don't have Kirk Cousins. See, the thing that they completely botched was franchise him once, franchise him again, and then now he just walks, and you're...
The funny thing is, Kirk Cousins came out. There was a report that came out earlier in the day that Kirk Cousins was interviewed and said he would happily sign a third franchise tag.
No shit.
For $30 fucking million, I'm sure he would.
Yeah, that's a nice multiplier.
Kirk Cousins is about to get paid. I don't agree with it. I don't think that Cousins is a franchise guy. If you want your team to finish 7-9, 9-7 every year, awesome. Go for it.
So I want to ask the rest of the panel, since Alex is no longer in the AFC, name the top 5 AFC quarterbacks.
Tom Brady.
I'm saying you're not going to make me say his fucking name.
Okay, just Tom, Ben.
Yeah, Carr. You got to put Carr in there. I know he had a bad year, but you got to put him in the top 5.
Rivers.
Yeah, Rivers and
then now we're grasping at straws.
no,
AJ already down to Rivers.
AJ McCarron.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
All right.
How about the poor man's Matt Ryan?
Let's not open that one up. Let's go over to the mayor of Oakland himself, Pat.
Okay, so here's my spiel. In terms of proficiency and talent at the quarterback position, I got to agree with what I think Roy said earlier in the group. I feel like it's a lateral move between those two guys.
Yes.
I, honest to God, feel like their ceiling and their potential is about the same. I don't see either one of those guys being the person to solve a comeback or be clutch in a crisis situation in the postseason if they make it to the postseason. Where it's a smart move on Kansas City's part, obviously, is getting that slot corner. The young gentleman's name escapes me at the moment, but I'm aware of
Fuller.
So yeah, something like that. The kid can play. He's definitely somebody that John Gruden and his staff are going to have to be aware of in terms of going tit for tat in those Oakland KC matchups. I mean, we know how crazy and how insanely close they can be. That game on Thursday night last year gave me about 8 heart attacks. So overall, it's so clear that Kansas City is the winner in that. Washington, don't kill me, Aaron, kind of like Chicago over the last 5 to 10 years, has made a lot of really questionable decisions and has had a lot of subpar management. And it seems as if they kind of escape criticism. I don't know if it's the strength of the fact that they're in a division with a bunch of other star-studded teams and a bunch of other teams that capture the media's attention in other ways.
The Giants and the Cowboys,
right,
kind of get lost.
Yeah, but it's Alex Smith along with no world beaters at running back or wide receiver, and an injury-prone tight end in Jordan Reed and an aging tight end in Vernon Davis, and a very, very vanilla defense, a defense that Josh Norman claims he went to compete for a championship. It's like, bro, did you look at the roster? Like, did you look at the depth chart? Like, come on now. Don't try to sell us. Don't try to sell us that snake oil about
the numbers on the check that he's getting.
Yeah, like, don't try to sell us snake oil. Oh, I want to go compete for a championship. Okay, well, good luck competing for a championship against Carson Wentz twice a year and against a Dallas team that at some point is going to decide that they care about building a secondary that can actually, anticipate a route and stop a guy from catching a ball, and whatever the fuck the Giants have going on. So,
I mean,
yeah,
the Redskins, what they did get out of this is they got some security at the quarterback position, because these 1-year deals that Cousins was getting, you can't think long term with franchise tags, and they're crippling the planning stages. They're crippling the salary cap. I mean, it didn't
yeah.
I mean, what LaRock, you're the salary cap guy. How much does the franchise tag count against the salary cap?
100%.
I mean, but isn't there some kind of like a growing penalty for each year franchise tag?
It's okay. So the second year is 110% of your previous tag. The second year is, I think, 125, and it just goes on exponentially.
Yeah, I mean, I know he was slated to make well over $30 million if he would have signed another one. Insane for Kirk Cousins. Well, I like this because I like it a little bit for Washington, mainly because, like I said, that gets them out of. Sure, they probably overpaid for Alex Smith, but it definitely got them out of overpaying for Kirk Cousins.
Definitely, and I want us to move into Kirk Cousins as far as where do we think he's going to go. I will say real quick, and just from my thoughts, is I like Alex Smith more than a lot of people. I don't think he's ever going to be a top 5 quarterback, and he ever has been, but he's a solid quarterback, and if you put pieces around him, I like him.
He's an older Kirk Cousins.
or Joe Montana, as LaRock likes to say. But let's move in. Let's move over to Kirk Cousins, and where do we think he's going to go? And I will say I've always been a fan of Kirk Cousins in terms of, I guess, going back to the RG3 days. I was always an anti-RG3 guy in the NFL. I never thought he would be a great NFL quarterback, and I always thought Kirk Cousins was always better than him. And so I was proven right, and I was glad about that. But if anybody wants to remind our audience who picked the Giants to win the NFC East, we can do that real quick too. But yeah, so Kirk Cousins is a talented quarterback. I think we can all agree on that. He is a talented quarterback, and he's going to have some really good options, and he's going to get paid. So, Pat, where do you think the spots for Kirk Cousins are?
With regard to the AFC, I'm not exactly sure what their salary cap situation is. David can probably fill us in a little bit later, but I have a very hard time not seeing John Elway making a strong push for the guy.
They got money.
As far as the NFC goes, I think a dark horse to land him is Arizona.
Interesting, but we got their coaching situation figured out first before I think he would make.
It's funny that you mentioned cap space, because I actually have the top 7 teams with the most cap space, notable teams with cap space in front of me. The Browns have 103 million. The Jets have 72. A surprise team that could come out of nowhere and sign him. The Minnesota Vikings have 57 million in cap space. They were a game away from the Super Bowl and have 57 million in cap space.
And they also have no quarterbacks on their roster.
And no quarterbacks on the roster. That
a brutal schedule next year.
That could probably be a slam dunk for Minnesota.
Yeah.
The Bills have 29 million. The Broncos have 23. I believe that's before. Yeah. Talib and Sanders come off the books, which the rumor is they're going to be released.
Now, is that included in the salary cap violation? Oh, never mind. That was a few years ago.
Oh, no, they get around that. They find a way around that, Denver. The Cardinals only have 12 million, and the Jaguars only have 10 million in space. This is before anyone's released.
Yep. As of right now.
As of right now. And,
so based on that information, it seems like Minnesota would be the ideal spot to start.
Minnesota seems like by far the smartest location. If he wanted to compete for championships, Minnesota seems like, young roster. They've got Diggs and Thielen and Cook. That defense is still, the defense is going to be around. I don't think they're losing any pieces. Mm-mm. That would be the best fit, but that also would mean Minnesota's pulling the plug on Bridgewater.
Yeah. I would go, and I like Bridgewater a lot, but just based on what we know at this point, I would, if I had a shot at Kirk Cousins, knowing Kirk Cousins and knowing the situation that Bridgewater's dealt with injury, because that was a nasty injury from all accounts, I would lean Cousins, but I like both. But
the question that the Minnesota GM has to ask themselves is, if Cousins was your quarterback in the NFC title game, do they win? Do they have obviously have a better chance to win? But if Kirk Cousins is Minnesota's quarterback, are they in the Super Bowl right now?
I don't mean. See, that's a hard one to answer because they got blown out, I don't know if anything could happen.
But there's a reason why they got blown out.
Yeah.
It wasn't all Keenum's fault. Granted, Keenum's not the best, but it was a culmination of – folks forget that Adam Thielen was playing with a fractured back. Xavier Rhodes goes out with a foot injury. Diggs wasn't 100%. Then they completely blew their load against New Orleans. They legit thought they won the Super Bowl. And then it just steamrolled. The wheels completely fell off, and Keenum's still going to get paid. I think Bridgewater is going to stay in Minnesota. I think it's going to be a show me deal. Folks look at his stats, but it's a completely different system. All of his numbers are with AP and a shitty O-line, and the defense not what it was. Bradford looked decent. They have weapons. As long as Teddy doesn't have to be mobile. He doesn't. He just has to make good reads. He's a smart kid. I think the dark horse, and I think Joey said it on the forum, is Cleveland. As crazy as it is, they have a shit ton of cap. They have pieces.
I don't think that's crazy at all. Like those guys played their asses off every single week.
The best thing about Cleveland right now is the fact that they have stuck with Hugh Jackson, I think. The fact that they've stuck with him. I mean,
yeah, they didn't have a knee-jerk reaction.
I mean,
like
when they brought in Jackson, the plan was, hey, we're gonna stockpile draft picks.
And they've done it. They got 2 in the top 5.
And that's what I'm saying is it would be very shitty to fire Hugh Jackson after he's pretty much fallen on the sword and has been the face of this tanking effort. I mean, it would be shitty for them to fire him after, like, hey, don't win shit,
right?
And now you're fired. And I mean, that they have to give him a chance to turn the ship around.
Yeah.
So I want to move on from this topic because we spent a lot of time on it. But last thing, so real quick, who do you think's the best right now? Everything we know, who's Cousins go to right now?
Cleveland.
Roy.
Denver.
Pat.
I'm gonna have to go with Denver.
I'm gonna go Denver too. I think Denver's the most logical choice right now. As we know, LaRock, that's gonna change. Don't freak out on me right now. All right, so let's move on to the.
Even though it should be Tebow.
That's right. There we go. No, but let's move on to what Roy has said. He's basically said the NBA season's all on for him because NFL season's over, apparently, according to Roy. So that's what you.
Yeah, it's been over. Been over for a few weeks now.
But last night, James Harden assaulted my Orlando Magic for the very first ever triple-double while scoring 60 points. So James Harden is clearly an amazing offensive talent. I don't think anybody can argue that. I have my issues with James Harden with his postseason performances, but he is playing phenomenal right now. And my question for you guys, and we're going to run through this fairly quickly, but my question for you is he the front runner for MVP, and do you think he will win the MVP in the NBA this season? Let's go with Roy.
I do think he's the front runner for the MVP, which is incredible considering that in the last 3 MVPs, or 3 out of the last 4, all were drafted by Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm. It's insane. It's insane.
And they were worried about building that super team, and they had it all along and just didn't want to sign Harden to that contract.
Although he is one of the primary reasons they lost that finals. He was awful. Awful.
I mean, his defense. I mean,
even his offense though in that finals, he was so bad. Like, I don't get it. He's such a phenomenal talent.
I mean, he got outplayed by a veteran with D-Wade.
He got outplayed by anybody that stepped on the court because he just didn't even try. Like, it was bad. That's my problem with Harden right there. I have no like he is an offense. He's probably the best offensive player in the NBA. But he doesn't play defense and he shrinks in the big moments. But I'm not going to jump on all that right now. I'm just mad. So anyway, LaRock, what do you got?
I mean, it's the dark horse, but Giannis from Milwaukee. I mean, just because he's putting up monster stats. I think Chris Paul is going to take away some votes for Harden. I think it's hard to blend. When you're playing with super teams, I mean, voters are going to sway one way or the other. So, I mean, I don't think Giannis is going to win it, but, I mean, he's the best player on the Bucks, but the Bucks suck. So, I don't.
That's true. Pat, what you got?
Okay, 2 points to kind of piggyback off what David is saying. Do I think he is a front runner, or at least amongst the top 3? He absolutely is. I think there's going to be a very distinct dichotomy between the voters who give him credit for being able to function and thrive within the Chris Paul experiment, and those who are going to take credit away from the fact that he's playing with arguably the best pure point guard in the league. Because, you look at guys like Kyrie, you look at guys like Steph, yeah, they function and they do their job as the point guard, but they're also such prolific scorers and freakish shooters that you can't put them into the traditional mold of a point guard. So if that being taken into consideration, I definitely think that he's amongst the front runners. I mean, if we're being honest, he was a front runner last year as well, but the storyline was just so it just felt like the moral choice was to give it to Westbrook with all the amazing things he did in the wake of KD leaving. In terms of just, Harden overall as a player or where he's at this point in his career, and Jeremy, you might have a connection about this.
Don't you say it. Don't you say it. Don't say it.
He kind of reminds me, it's almost like a Carmelo 2.0 because he's such an amazing scorer.
It's true, though.
But the defensive side of the ball is where shit gets really questionable.
Well, and that kind of goes into it because I've never liked Carmelo, and I don't like James Harden. I'm not taking away from their talent, but my kind of guys are Kobe and Westbrook, those killers. You know what I mean? Those guys that just don't care.
And who will also check you up on the defensive side of the ball. Right.
And who are awful teammates.
Exactly. Jordan, Kobe. Westbrook, they don't care about what you think. They don't care. Michael Jordan punched who was it? Paxson or Steve Kerr?
Steve Kerr. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I got both the little white guys mixed up for Jordan. Couldn't remember.
They
all those little white people. They all look the same. So.
Yeah, but Jordan won stuff.
I mean, and Kobe didn't.
No, sure, Kobe did, but I mean to lump Westbrook in it.
I just meant the mentality. I'm just saying the mentality is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't think Westbrook is on the Kobe Jordan level in terms of his play, but his mentality, you got to give him that. His mentality. And he's cold-blooded. He's a killer, and he doesn't care what anybody thinks. But that's a whole.
Westbrook is the type of player that gives David, who is such, a structured, procedural, analytical mind.
He hates it.
Like, it just gives him fucking fits.
As someone that is a big fan of Westbrook, I mean, he stresses me out sometimes to watch him because he's so reckless.
That last playoff series where KD and Russ were together, and I kind of knew that the end was near because, like, watching that series, and I don't apologize for it. I was rooting for OKC there against Golden State.
Shocker.
To watch, like, Russ go down, like, play point guard, handle the ball, bring it down the court. To watch him just play completely out of control drove me fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And you could see, like, out watching the game, you could see KD kind of rolling his fucking eyes every time Russ would come down the court. And it's just like...
Game 6, I believe Westbrook took 10 more shots than KD.
Like, and it was... In a playoff game, there's no reason to shoot the ball with fucking 15 seconds on the play clock.
And you guys got to remember... That's the same unit that beat San Antonio of a prior round and did so handedly.
That's because athleticism.
I just want to clarify.
Well, also age and nutrition, but nonetheless, they beat Popovich's system.
Right, and I just want to clarify. I'm just saying mentality-wise. I don't think Westbrook is on the same, like, not even the type
I would be a bigger fan of Westbrook if he could play more controlled. He's just...
Does not play well with others.
Mentality, but he is just too... Like,
I agree.
There will be 10 plays where you're like, holy shit, how did he do that? And then there's 15 plays of, holy shit, why the fuck did he do that?
Oh, yeah. No, I agree.
He's Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually, it's not a bad comparison. Real quick, before we move on, I want to give a shout out to Jenna. I can't remember her last name. Starts with a B in the Sports Wars group. Jenna.
I think it's Bianco.
Shout out to her for her Houston Rockets destroying my Orlando Magic. She and I were going back and forth in a thread the other day, and she was like, "Oh, you hate Harden, but you'd sure like to have him in Orlando." I'm like, "No, I would rather stay dead last in the East than have James Harden." I was like, just like when we had Dwight Howard, I really wasn't like I couldn't even.
She's having a good year with Houston sport outside of the Texans, of course. She's a big Astros fan, big Rockets fan. So
yeah, and she's got a lot to look forward to next year with Deshaun Watson coming back. Shut up, David.
Such a large sample size we have.
But anyway, that was a good discussion, and we're going to stay in the NBA, and we're going to talk about the big trade that happened a few days ago. Blake Griffin to the Detroit Pistons. I mean, this was kind of crazy considering what did they sign him to this massive deal like 6 months ago? What was it? Like it's just crazy. But the rumor is, and we're going to play into two parts into this, but the rumor is obviously they're trying to free up space for LeBron. I personally don't believe that. I think LeBron will go to the Lakers if he goes to LA. But what do we think about Blake Griffin, the trade to Detroit, and how do we think that's going to impact LeBron's future? I'll go with Pat.
Oh, they say the Clippers, huh? Let me let me see if I can find something in this newspaper about. Where is it?
This guy has props.
Wait. Oh wait, you guys are talking about the team in LA that's not the Lakers. The team in LA that should have.
One more time, put it up and speak so you'll come on screen. Just so.
I mean that team that has the name that starts with a C, correct?
You've been hanging out with LaRock. You've been hanging out with LaRock too much.
Y'all been friends for way too long.
The team that should have moved to Seattle 5 years ago, ironically enough, the last time that their so-called rivalry with the Oakland team was worth a damn. Oh, them? They're trying to clear up space for some major names? Interesting. Okay, now I'll stop bullshitting. This to me, well, obviously the Clippers are going to make an aggressive push, not just at LeBron, but I also think they're going to go after Paul George. Like, I think they're basically just saying to hell with it. And, getting what they can get, clearing shop. The first domino of Chris Paul leaving fell, and at that point I felt like, okay, they're going to try to just basically blow it up. Because beyond, what was it, the 2014 playoffs, I think they went to the conference finals. My memory is a little bit shoddy on that. So on their end, I can see why they're making an aggressive push to get whatever big name they can get, whoever it is. As far as the Detroit side of it, to Roy's point in the group yesterday, are we really sure Blake is going to be kept in Detroit? Because Detroit right now is setting up to possibly be an 8th seed, which means they would just be cannon fodder for Boston in the first round. I think this is more from a business standpoint, Detroit trying to get a big marquee name so that they can continue to keep the enthusiasm around their new arena as high as possible.
Interesting. Roy, what you got?
I don't understand. If Paul George is so dead set on going to LA, why not the Clippers? I mean,
because it's the Clippers.
But this isn't the same. This isn't the Donald Sterling Clippers. This is what's the Microsoft guy's name who owns the team now?
Ballmer, Steve Ballmer.
Ballmer,
yeah. Who came down from Seattle.
Yeah, this isn't the Donald Sterling Clippers. This isn't the draft Michael Olowokandi and Lamar Odom and Elton Brand. No, they didn't draft Elton Brand. They traded for Elton Brand. This isn't the same ownership. This is a completely different.
This is still the same product.
But that's what I'm saying. It's ever since he took over, they've been a playoff team. I mean, it's completely different. Honestly, in the time that he's owned the Clippers have been a better franchise than probably more functional franchise than the Lakers. In the time that he's owned the Clippers, they've been a better run team. Also, whoever is in the front office of the Clippers needs to be the one keeping fucking secrets in this country, because nobody saw the Chris Paul trade coming.
It's Jerry West.
The fucking Blake Griffin trade coming.
It's Jerry West.
Is it Jerry West for the Clippers?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if anyone can really argue your point, Roy, in terms of particularly the discrepancy of overall management between the Clippers and the Lakers, because look at that contract that the Lakers gave to Luol Deng.
Look at the contract they gave to Timothy Mozgov.
But they had to spend it. Like, there's a cap floor.
Listen,
they had to give money away.
But here's what I'm going to say about the Lakers and the Clippers comparison, and I'm going to use something that Pat has as a prop. You remember those Jordache back in the day that you could get from Kmart for like $13 to look like the Jordans.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't matter how comfortable they were. It didn't matter how stylish they were. They weren't Jordans, and they were never going to be Jordans. The Clippers are never going to be the Lakers.
The Lakers have had the Clippers have had.
LeBron has an ego. LeBron has an ego bigger than Texas. He will not go to the Clippers. If he's going to LA, he's going to the Lakers.
You go to the Lakers and you're walking into history. You go to the Clippers, you can make history.
It won't matter.
You should be a PR rep.
Let's do it.
Jerry, are you trying to get Jerry West to hire you right now?
I mean, fuck it, I'll take it. I'll move to LA. Me and Pat can go out and have some fucking dinners at some bomb-ass restaurants.
That's disgusting. I feel like I need to take a shower after hearing that.
Well, I mean, honestly, within the last 5 years,
they had fucking Chris Paul.
Since the new owner took over, Donald Sterling will go down in history as one of the worst sports owners in the history of fucking sports.
100%. So they get Blake, right? They get Blake healthy. They spend a shit ton of money on DeAndre. They get Chris Paul, and all of a sudden they're good because of the ownership. Come on. They have Bob City.
They're good because the ownership made the moves and wasn't afraid to spend the fucking money. Whereas Donald Sterling was...
Okay, but David,
Chris Paul was there. Chris Paul was there when Donald Sterling was the owner, though.
David,
they were dope.
Are they remiss for attempting to make their roster better?
No, but I mean, it's such a small clip of history, no pun intended.
You know that was intended.
You smooth son of a bitch.
You know, they got better when they had better players, not because not because the owner was there.
The sad thing is, being a California native, I actually know what the hell Clippers is supposed to refer to.
You want to enlighten us?
Like a boat or some shit?
To make a long story short, and don't worry, this doesn't go all the way back into the ABA. It's still an NBA story. But the Clippers originally come from San Diego. And as you guys know, San Diego is a huge naval-based city and is a huge port city. People do a lot of sailing with regard to businesses, with regard to doing so casually, whatever. And the little metal piece at the top of the sail that helps it steer is called a clipper.
Interesting. That's not as cool as I thought it would.
And
be.
You wonder why the franchise is
I mean,
there ain't no damn lakes in Los Angeles.
Let's go with the shitty team nickname of the Lakers.
It worked from a marketing standpoint.
And when LeBron goes there and all is well and they're in Hollywood,
there's a better chance LeBron ends up in Houston.
No,
I think that's possible.
Okay, David,
Banana Boat Crew.
If I had to rank them, it would be Houston.
If you look at the NBA as it's structured out right this moment, the only place that puts you literally above Golden State is LeBron. If he goes to Houston, that makes them a better team.
But wherever
David, you know matchups, bro. You know matchups. Look at how that Houston roster is built and square that up with LA. Do you think LeBron wants to play with a bunch of children?
You guys are thinking checkers.
I love LeVar Ball.
That's what I'm saying. Is he white noses?
It's chess. The dominoes are going to fall. I mean, you guys think that this is, LeBron's going to go and that's going to be the squad. No. He's had conversations. Everybody has group texts. We have group texts.
Well, hold on.
They have group texts.
You said we think. I mean, you're the one who pioneered this whole LeBron to LA shit. Let's keep it
okay. PG.
Team LeBronzo.
PG. He's a free agent. Right? There's also a big man who just tore his Achilles in New Orleans. He's a free agent. I mean, LA has cap. They have young talent that they can deal for assets. If the buses actually go to LeBron and LeBron's like, I really want to play for y'all, but that Lonzo kid's got to go. He's on the next plane to Memphis. Like, it doesn't matter.
David makes really compelling
New
points.
Orleans.
David's making compelling points.
You have to think big picture. LeBron would be the only player to transcend different cities. He's all in big markets except for going back home.
True, but the Lakers are one of those brands that's bigger than the player, whoever the hell it is.
That's what
LeBron is single-handedly the catalyst of Cleveland's fucking economy. In LA, there's 100 million things to do and see and make money off of that have shit to do with sports, much less for Lakers. So he's not going to have that same degree of control. Will he have some leeway? Yeah, sure. But
he's doing commercials.
I don't think it's going to be that drastic.
Movies. It's the same reason why Shaq wanted to go to L.A. He's in the last trimester of his career.
We're talking about 25 years ago before Facebook.
That's a real interesting analogy. Anyway,
he's a brand. Me personally, as a basketball fan, I want him to go to the Knicks. I think the NBA is better when the Knicks are relevant.
I agree with that 100%.
That is very true.
I want to see him in Madison Square Garden, him and Kristoff, PG, whatever.
I wonder if Michael Rappaport would stop making those shitty videos.
I have to say this small little discussion right here is really excited me for the offseason of the NFL, because I think there's going to be a lot of good discussions to be had with the NBA. LaRock, I did not realize you were on the same page with me with the Knicks, though. I mean,
I love it.
I 100% agree. If the Knicks were a real player for him, he should absolutely.
He could be. I mean, we don't know what LeBron wants. If you guys think that it's just plug and play and he's going to go to Houston and that's going to be the squad, you're mistaken.
Okay, you made fair points. You want anybody got any closing thoughts before we move on?
I mean, as far as like plugging and play, I think we can all agree if you just plug him in, they are a legit contender.
For sure.
Obviously, there's other moves to be made.
Yeah, David actually sold me. I'm actually throwing the Houston idea out now. So LaRock sold. Finally, once in his life, he convinced me of something.
Doesn't take much.
Oh, do you want me to open up the conversation? Okay.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
No, but now it's time to talk about the small game taking place this weekend in Minnesota, and that is
there a game?
Yeah, Super Bowl 52. And that's that last year's was 51. And if anybody remembers what, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Oh, I thought they stopped making Super Bowls after the third quarter last year.
That's good. But anyway, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles versus the New England Patriots. And this is going to be a really exciting game. I think this is going to be a close game. If you look at the Patriots' history, and it's easy to look at the Patriots and go, oh, they're Patriots, they're a dynasty. The Patriots, and LaRock probably has these numbers on him, but the Patriots have never blown anybody out in the Super Bowl. It's always been close games, always. And so I expect nothing different from this weekend. So let's go to the Patriot homer himself, David LaRock. David, what are your thoughts on Super Bowl 52? And
you guys, you're really going to think I'm a homer for this. Do you want my analysis first or my prediction?
We want the analysis first from everyone, and then we'll move back into predictions.
Okay. So I get it. Philly's defense is solid. They have a nice front four. Their secondary is iffy, Darby. They do have one of the worst graded slot corners in the league in Jalen Mills. There is a lock and key blueprint on how to run up on the Eagles. There was one team that had over 400 yards of offense against this Eagles defense. That was Eli Manning and the Giants. They did it twice. Eli did it without Odell Beckham. And you're like, well, how the hell is that possible? They ran 68% of their plays in the no huddle. If only New England could run a no huddle scheme with quick passes and slants. It's not going to be close. You said it before. Yeah, they haven't, won a Super Bowl in a blowout, whatever. There's just a lot of trends that I'm confident. And of course, Pat's going to say I'm going to be nervous because I'll be watching it in the fetal position in a dark room, which I will. But I like the matchup. I really do. Their front four is nasty, but if you run a no huddle, ask Atlanta. They get tired. They're not going to sub. Fuck the running game. Do screens, draws. And on the flip side, Roy, how many points did the Eagles score against Atlanta?
I believe it was like 13?
15.
15. They score 15 points against Atlanta. But folks look at the Minnesota game in a vacuum when the wheels fell off. Oh, Nick Foles. Oh, well, he's fantastic. Peterson, they're gonna do great. All of Foles' wins have been at fucking home. No adversity.
I gotta
Super
say,
Bowl,
David,
a
you're
little
on
bit
point.
David,
David, you're on point tonight. I gotta give you credit. I'm gonna give you a pay raise.
Please do. Checks in the mail. I mean, I've been deep diving numbers. Obviously, I'm going to bet, gamble, whatever. Also, another fact before we move along to somebody else who's going to probably say the Eagles are going to win. I'm a betting guy. I love Vegas. Vegas never loses. Since 1990, Las Vegas has only lost 2 Super Bowls to the public. The 2007 Pats, when undefeated David Tyree, whatever, and the fucking Steve Young 49ers when they blew out the Chargers. Every other Super Bowl, Vegas wins. Public's wrong.
Hold on. I got a little quick question. Sorry to stop you on the roll there. That Super Bowl, the San Francisco-San Diego Super Bowl, Vegas picked San Diego to win that shit?
No. So the public put all their money on San Francisco.
I was about to say, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's talking about what the public chose.
Yeah, what the public chose. So, like,
what the hell was the public thinking?
No. So they took San Francisco. Vegas lost because the public won. Everybody and their mom put money on Steve Young, and they blew him out 55-17.
Right.
Everybody and their mom, so public money. Anyway, only twice since 1990. 65% of the money against the number is on Philly. 80% of the money line, meaning just to win, is on Philly. And Vegas is like, come on. The people are actually putting hard-earned dollars on Nick Foles. Just say that out loud. It's Nick Foles. I'm done. Roy?
I mean, the analysis right there, I mean, spot on. I don't think anyone expected Philly to make it this far. They've been kind of wearing that underdog mask, literally, for the last few weeks now. Nobody gave them a shot against Atlanta, except a couple people. I know The Rock mentioned them. I think I even mentioned that it made me nervous that everybody was picking Atlanta. Then no one gave them a chance against Minnesota, coming off of Minnesota's emotional win. Nobody's giving them a chance here either, but I think it finally kind of catches up to them. I'm not going to say the name of those crab cake eating bastards in New England.
It's lobster, not crab.
Stop.
Lobster roll, that's right.
Please.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got you mixed up with the Maryland there.
Yeah. We have Brady, not Flacco.
But I mean, it's I don't know. There are certain times when analysis and the numbers can kind of go out the window, and the big games are most of the time when that can happen. I don't see it here, but it wouldn't surprise me. Nothing football wise can surprise me after last year. I do think New England takes it.
You sound really, really sad. It's almost like you're like at a eulogy.
Like, don't get me wrong, I want the fucking cheesesteaks to take it, but I mean,
right, hold on before you give your official score or your official prediction. We're gonna wrap that up on the last run here.
Okay.
So Pat, what are your general thoughts on this game?
You guys gotta bear with me a little bit because I have a decent amount to say. You may or may not believe me. You may think I'm completely full of shit. Either way is fine.
I can confirm Pat is mostly not full of shit. Mostly.
This is honest to God the first New England involved Super Bowl that I don't have an active rooting interest in the sense that fuck those guys, I don't want to win. Like, that's after last year, that kind of gut punch. I'm just like, all right, I'm done.
Fucking say that shit again.
So every fiber in the logical side of my brain tells me New England wins and probably does so handedly. In the week-long build-up to this, me as somebody who really wasn't looking forward to this matchup, trying to get myself to a point of, okay, let me try to get something from it because it's the Super Bowl. It only happens once a year. And even if I outright didn't want to watch it, I still would because I have my obligation to be in the know for the sake of the group, for the sake of this show, just in general. And in the course of like just taking a look at things, because I'm a matchups guy, I like to look at, player on player. I'm coming across some of the most cockamamie stats and pieces of information from both head-ass fan bases because they're both obnoxious as fuck in different ways. Let's keep it real. And let me read some of the shit off to you. David, this one is for you. So Eagles fans are going on and on about this particular stat that over the last, basically ever since that Saints Super Bowl win against your best buddy Peyton Manning, every year that the Saints made the playoffs, the NFC representative has won the Super Bowl that year.
Well, that's
what Eagle fans are going on about right now. And then the New England fans are responding with, the holiness and the sanctitude of the white jersey. And then the Eagle fans retort to that with the fact that, the last time a white jersey team lost, it was to a team wearing green jerseys. So now all this fucking pixie dust, as you like to say, tinfoil hat bullshit is just in the air, and I'm trying to swim through it to get to the matchups.
There's a lot
for me, the two matchups that I'm most interested in are Malcolm Jenkins versus whoever the fuck, because the man is a Swiss Army knife. It's more than likely going to be Gronk. And that to me is captivating because, and I'm not doing this to be petty, David, I promise. Think back to week 1.
Yes, 100% accurate.
Eric Berry basically went up to Gronk at the start of the first quarter and said, look here, boy, it ain't going down today. And he had 2 or 3 catches.
Yeah.
And if you look at how Malcolm Jenkins is built physically, he's about the same height and the same weight, but he's more muscular at the same time being more nimble and more fast. I think that matchup is going to be even better than Cam Chancellor versus Gronk in 49. And I'm dead ass serious with that.
Yeah.
The other interesting matchup to me is on the other side. Philly went out and they put together a really solid class of receivers. And, those guys going up against Chung and McCourty and Butler in particular, I think is going to be really interesting to watch. As far as Gilmore goes, he's the one guy in that set that doesn't have this big stage postseason experience. I'm not saying week 1 through 4 Gilmore is going to show up.
Did you watch the Jacksonville game?
Of course I did. But if it did, it wouldn't surprise me. That's all I got.
This was some good analysis across the board to the point where I don't think I need to add anything because I can't improve the discussion. This is a great job, guys. So I think we just need to move on into our predictions. And we're going to end with LaRock on his prediction just because. But let's since Pat just talked, let me give my prediction first, and then we'll move on, and then I'll close the show out. So my prediction on this game is I think it's going to be a close game. LaRock, do we have confirmation that Gronk is playing?
Yes, he practiced today.
I know he
practiced. Red jersey.
Okay.
He's good. He's fine.
Okay. So I think it's going to be a close game, and I think New England wins 21-13. But I think it's going to be tight towards the end. I think New England will score another touchdown. And it's just I don't see part of me wants to think New England's going to go out there and drop 40. And maybe they will. But it's just I've seen this story so many times in the Super Bowl, and New England they typically don't score a lot of points in the Super Bowl. So I'm sure LaRock is going to destroy that once we get to him. But let's go ahead and go to Roy.
I think this has the opportunity to be anticlimactic as shit. I think it could be 40-10. New England just blows their fucking doors off. Excuse me. But part of me thinks that it's going to be like that Jacksonville game where no one kind of gave Jacksonville a chance, and that they hung in there. They lost at the end, obviously, but it's either going to be anticlimactic or uncomfortably close. Either way, I still think the team that plays in Gillette Stadium ends up winning.
It hurts so bad.
My bets, it's either going to be 45-10 or 21-17 or some shit.
I really hope you're right, Roy, and it's 45-10. So, Pat, the big time New England fan, Pat.
Good luck to any commercials that air after halftime.
Dilly.
I feel like this probably will be like a 34-31 to New England type affair. However, if Philly somehow does pull this shit off, it's going to be off of some kind of insane, unpredictable, what the fuck just happened moment.
Someone in
that is
Philly
going to go
voodoo doll.
That is going to go down in the annals of time. The likelihood of it is not high, but if it does happen, it'll probably be off that as opposed to, oh, well, they just shut down the run game. So yeah, New England more than likely takes it, and but we'll see how it goes down.
See, and this is why I am so reluctant to think this way, because part of me does want to believe New England's going to go in there and smoke them, but everybody thinks this, and so that's what concerns me more than anything.
When was the last time that we had a Super Bowl where everyone was just kind of like, oh, this isn't even going to be close? Like even the last Super Bowl that wasn't really close, the Denver-Seattle one, everybody thought that was going to be a good game.
That's true.
David doesn't want to hear this, but damn near everyone in the world picked the Rams to get them the fuck out of here in Super Bowl 36.
I mean, but I think most people believed that 2007 Super Bowl was going to be New England's going to blow them out.
That's probably the last one. That was the undefeated team going against the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, that's probably the last one I remember where no one thought it was going to be a game.
Mm-hmm. And again, it took some otherworldly shit for it to happen.
I don't think Carolina Denver was not perceived to be a blow. Cam Newton was the MVP.
I was one of the few people I knew that actually picked Denver. Everybody else was riding that Cam MVP train. And I mean, everybody thought it was going to be reasonably close.
All right.
So I mean, real quick, can we stop with the whole underdog Philadelphia shit? Like, they're 13-3. They're the number one.
No, we will not stop with it, David. Don't try to dictate other teams' fan culture.
I mean, are they not the underdogs?
No.
Stop. It's whatever. And then again, with the whole Vegas point spread, it's all about public perception because they want a 50-50 split. Anyway, I digress. Real quick, since week 5, who has the number one scoring defense in the league? Anybody know?
New England.
Okay. Since I think week 4, Dion Lewis is top 3 in all-purpose yards, right behind Le'Veon Bell and the dude from New Orleans, Kamara.
Which he won't get paid for.
That's a different topic. We'll talk about that in March. Anyway,
David's feisty tonight.
I think that it's going to be final score predictions 34-17. I think New England jumps out early. I will say this: Tom's going to win MVP because it's Tom. I get it. He's going to do great. A dark horse for MVP is going to be Brandon Cooks. I think Jim Schwartz, their defense, they play zone. Their corners do not line up. It's not like Ramsey and it's not like Bouye, right? They play zone with a lot of stretch linebacker stuff. If McDaniels is going to manipulate and they're going to put Cooks on Jalen Mills, I'm telling you, Jalen Mills, you will hear his name all night long. He will get fucking roasted because, as Pat mentioned, Jenkins is going to destroy Gronk. Not destroy, but neutralize. The issue is they don't have the corners or the linebackers to do anything else. Real quick, if New England runs 60 to 70 plays, game's over. If they're in the 50s, Philadelphia wins. That's it. It's all about tempo.
All righty. Well,
David, real quick, I won't take up too much time. What does the paradigm become for you? And I can pose this question to Jeremy too. If Philly somehow pulls this off, does anything really change?
I mean, it sucks losing a Super Bowl, but congrats. And,
what specifically do you mean, though, change? Like, what changes?
I mean, with regard to, obviously people will kind of, go nuts for about 8
If you say what I think I'm going to say, I will close this fucking laptop.
Nah, I don't care about all that bullshit that was or wasn't going on or whatever the hell.
Hashtag
I just
wait
mean
and
in
see.
terms. Yeah, I just mean in terms of the day-to-day mentality, the confidence, the how you feel about the future of the team, with the fact that for all his greatness, the guy is going to be 41. Like, if they lose, is it really impact? If they lose, is it really impactful in any way?
The cliff is here.
I don't. I have supreme confidence in Tom Brady. He's not releasing Tom versus time, to retire or get traded. They didn't move Garoppolo because they think Tom. They didn't. It's not like they were going we're definitely going to win the Super Bowl this year. I mean, there was a potential they could have lost that Jacksonville game.
They should have.
But Brady's coming back. He'll be back. It doesn't really matter what happens to the Super Bowl. It'll create a nice media narrative, and Max Kellerman can claim that the cliff finally arrived.
Oh, please, the boxing guy.
Yeah. So I mean, but no, nothing changes. Nothing at all.
I will say this: if they win, right? Heaven, earth, hell, water, brimstone, they will go all in next year. And I think that will be it for the fact that no team has ever won 3 straight.
And it's going to be real disappointing when the Raiders beat them in the AFC Championship.
Shots fired. It's not even fucking February.
All right. And I'll say this, and David, I hope you don't get mad at me, but I really hope this year that we have a repeat of last year, and I get a call from LaRock around 10:30, and he's like, "Oh my god!"
I have screenshots of me FaceTiming a friend of mine, and I'm crying.
He was a mess, and I was screaming. My daughter was trying to sleep, and my wife's like, "Shut up!" And I'm like, "You don't understand what just happened." I'm sorry, Roy. I know, I can see it. Roy's like,
both of y'all.
We can hear it now, right? Pitch to White.
But anyway, that's gonna do it for this week, and obviously, like we do every week, and we're gonna go around and we're gonna give some shout outs. So I'm gonna let Pat start because he's already starting with his pettiness.
Obviously, New England has a chance to do something unprecedented. But I'd be remiss to mention that when New England wins a Super Bowl, a certain other team tends to do well in their postseason. So yeah, that's all I got.
All right, Roy.
Shout out to once again, shout out to Philly fans for making it harder every day. You assholes are just impossible to root for.
They're a special kind, aren't they?
It's like rooting for a rich kid with a meth habit. Like, holy shit, dude! Like, y'all are making it impossible to root for. I fucking hate New England, and I'm having second thoughts about rooting for the fucking cheesesteaks up there. And
this one is a doozy, man. It really is.
That was hilarious.
It is impossible to root for you assholes.
Is it probably the 2 worst fan bases in the league?
Like, I hope if they win, I hope they drop the fucking Super Bowl trophy at the parade and run over it.
Look, I'm saying objectively. This is objective, okay? This can't be debated. You can hate New England because of their winning and their success. Objectively, the Cowboys fans are the worst. They're the worst.
Oh, no, Philly's giving them a fucking run right now.
No, I meant, well, you said two worst. I meant like the Cowboys. Yeah. We know Philly's in that conversation, but Cowboys are the next worst.
I mean, it's how the fuck can you be that obnoxious and you've never won shit?
I will say, if I was not a fan of New England and I was you guys, I would be pulling for Philly just to watch the fucking world burn, watch them celebrating.
They're literally going to tear down Minnesota.
Like the joke is like what are they going to grease the light poles up with? I say do it with Cheese Whiz. I mean,
if they win. You guys remember the second Lord of the Rings movie when they had the big battle at the end and the army's all marching up and they're all growling and shit? That's going to be Philly fans going to Gillette Stadium just to talk shit.
Well, now I mentioned this on last week's episode, but I'm pretty sure The Dark Knight Rises, excuse me, The Dark Knight Rises was filmed in Philadelphia. And of course, Bane takes over the city. They have to blow the bridges out. They have to bring the military in. And all I'm saying, and of course I don't want Philly to win, but if Philly wins, please, Nick Foles, put on a Bane mask and just walk in the middle of all that mayhem. It might be better than New England winning the Super Bowl if I could.
Okay, I'm converted now. Now I want Philly to win it again. Like, fuck it.
Didn't take much.
Yeah. They didn't care who I was, so I put on the Philadelphia helmet.
Oh, that's great. All right, David, got any shout outs?
Just shout out to all the people who are still doing the Super Bowl prop contests. I made a post about it. $5 entry. I do not play it. I do not take a cut. Winner takes all. Should have about 150 entries, so should be good. So keep them coming in.
Cool.
I got
all right.
Quick little shout out I want to do to Jimmy Bizzo. He's doing some awesome paintings.
That is true.
Paintings. He is talking about.
He has some dope work.
Hell yeah, man! He's talking about doing one for Sports Wars, where we can possibly do a giveaway in the future. I wanted to give him a shout out. Dude does awesome work. Check him out. It's really fucking awesome. He's doing a painting for John right now of Julio Jones. He's doing one for me as well. Shit is awesome.
Yeah. Which catch?
I'm sorry?
Which catch? Or is it just like his face or what?
Dude, he's going to surprise us. So I've seen the dude's work. He's got a Michael Jordan painting he did that's fucking dope, man.
If you can get me a link to his site or his page, send it to me, and I'll put it in the description below here on YouTube.
That's what's up.
Yeah, just send that over to me. And then I'll just end the show with a big shout out to the Geeks and Gamers community for all the support that we've been getting. Our YouTube channel has been growing big time lately. Our website has seen some really good numbers. So I want to thank everyone from the community for the continued support. Shout out to our Patreon supporters. Shout out to Thomas Gilkey, who is now an official sponsor for geeksandgamers.com. We have been featured on the website on the bottom of the home page. And go to our Patreon page if you're interested in becoming a sponsor. You can find all the information out there. For Pat, for Roy, for David, thank you guys for joining the Sports Wars podcast. I'm Jeremy. Have a great week. We'll talk to you later.